This video is in part made possible by established titles. What would you do if you were locked into a haunted house, chased by a dead woman's ghost, and had to stream all of these bizarre events to the outside world? Would you be able to survive this night? Let's find out. In this video, we will follow the mistakes made by a disgraced content creator desperate for views and find alternatives to help him survive his own death stream. Let's go. Do you see that forest? That is a beautiful forest, just like the forest in Scotland that established titles aims to protect. That is right, as of today we Bingexpress are no longer mere peasants, but established lords. And with established titles, even you can change your title officially into lady or lord. You may not be able to claim your new title on a passport, but it does work on plane tickets and credit cards, and that is pretty freaking dope if you ask me. Here's how it works. By applying for your title, you will receive 1 dedicated square foot of land in Eddleston, Scotland, and with this plot of land, you are eligible for your title via the historic customs in Scotland. With every order, they plant 1 tree with global charities like 1 Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support the global reforestation efforts. You'll receive this beautiful numbered certificate of your lordship with the exact location of your land. The first 200 people signing up will effectively sit next to our plot of land, and we are forever married until the decay of the sun in 4.5 billion years will divorce us. How beautiful is that? Now, if you suck at picking out gifts for other people just like me, consider picking up a plot of land in the name of your choice and make someone in your life a lady or lord. On top of their massive early Black Friday sale right now, they offer an exclusive 10% discount with the promo code BINGE. Check out the link in the description and get your lordship today. Thank you Established Titles for supporting the channel. DEADSTREAM is about a content creator named Sean Rudy, whose channel centers around pranks, absurd stunts, and dumb challenges. And watching this opening montage will give you a little bit of an idea to what limits this guy is willing to go. His content not only generates a lot of clout, but is also pretty dangerous. One day he is trending, and the next he is cancelled. He is the kind of guy who craves attention and does pretty much anything to get it. And now he has to deal with the consequences. So after indeed being cancelled by probably prematurely posting semi-offensive things on Twitter, he has to lay low for a while and loses all of his sponsors. And to regain what he had lost, he comes up with an ingenious plan. Staying for 1 night in a haunted house and intends to livestream all of that. Well, let's see. The place that he picks is called the Death Manor, and this name is given for a reason, as we will get to know. He packs a paranormal safety kit that contains a crucifix, holy water, garlic, some salt, and a dagger, which I must admit I kind of like, you know? Either he must have been binging How to Beat videos or watched the Winchester slice up some bad guys. Either way, you get a like from me. After reaching the manor, Sean wears a GoPro on his head and starts a live stream which he calls the DEADSTREAM. The first thing that he does after going live is throw away his car's spark plugs to avoid the temptation of running off. Now you see, that is a bad idea. You know, forget about ghosts for a second. What about wild animals? What about creeps and meth heads, huh? I mean, how is he planning to return anyway? I don't see any chances of finding these little spark plugs again. If at any time he would need to escape, wouldn't it be better to just be able to escape? I mean, following his line of reasoning, he could have handcuffed himself to a pole inside this manor. This would have been equally stupid. Keeping your vehicle accessible and ready to leave is a pretty basic thing to consider, no? We can also see that this man has come unarmed. Sure, he got salt and crucifixes, but that stuff won't work on a wild bear, won't it? It would be fun to see a person trying to fight off a bear with holy water and a crucifix though, but I don't think it would turn out well, you know? I would watch it, for sure, but, yeah, I don't think that's good for him. Now, as he enters the house, he tells the story of it. Basically, a Mormon built this house for his socially outcast poet daughter, Mildred, and legends have it that Mildred was the first death in this house. And for whatever reason, the house, from that day on, has experienced several deaths either inside or nearby. All bodies that were found were mutilated to the point of no recognition. Which is a pretty big red flag, my friends. Believing in ghosts is one thing, but denying the mutilated dead bodies that have been found in this area is no topic to ignore. Something or someone kills people around here. That is a fact. Ignoring that is ridiculous, but making it impossible for you to efficiently escape and or fight, is completely crazy. Instead of just running into this stream, he should have come for a visit first and check out this whole place in broad daylight. This would not only result in a better stream in general, but also ensures that he knows the ins and outs of this place before he must escape a vicious monster trying to chop him up. So Sean installs a camera near the front gate and proceeds to go inside. After entering, the first thing he does is lock the door and throws the key into the vent. The reason? Well, it's the same reason just like when he threw away his spark plugs. You know? Great job. First the car, now this. Listen people, I've been doing this for 2 years now, and there is much more staged stuff on YouTube than one might think. Entertaining content is one goal, to entertain. Nothing more, nothing less. The means on how to achieve that are secondary. Think about Bear Grylls for a second. Do you really think this guy was in any danger at any point? No. Did they make us believe he was? Yes. Why? Because that is just more interesting to watch. So instead of being dumb, he could have just pretended to throw away the key. Get a fake key for God's sake. Get fake spark plugs too and throw those away as well. Your audience will never find out, and truly, they don't even care as long as they feel the thrill while watching. Sean deliberately locks himself into the house and, well, goes about his plan. Fortunately, there is no one in this house, neither an animal nor another human being. So Sean continues with the house tour, comes across some creepy graffitis and syringes, and eventually proceeds with mounting various cameras in different corners of the house. Apparently, there is one room in this whole house where no paranormal activity has ever been recorded. So he, the genius that he is, sets up his base right there. He then continues with the story of Mildred and this whole house, which, to be fair, is extremely boring. So boring, in fact, that his views soon start to plummet, and he finally panics. Now this guy is more scared of losing views than being stuck in a haunted house in the middle of nowhere. I mean, that says a lot. To combat the steady fall of his viewers, he attempts to summon evil spirits by using a doll that he finds in one of the other rooms. But his goofiness is soon replaced by terror as he witnesses and feels someone's presence. He rushes back to his safe zone and comes across a clear white silhouette that terrifies him to death. Well, there you go. The fun is over, my guy. What would you do in this situation? What I would do in this situation? Well, I'm glad you asked. I would baptize myself with the holy water, drink the last sips to purify my soul, and then reverse the devil praise I uttered before and turn it into a freaking gospel, my friends. Ain't no demon killing me tonight, that is for sure. But Sean ain't me. Sean decides to break it all off and announces the end of his stream. Dude chickened out the first moment things got real. And his followers, of course, have none of it. They want to be entertained, so they protest, trying to keep him there. And fair enough, right? They came with expectations, and Sean is not meeting them. Can't blame them for his shortcomings. So for his sponsor's sake, he is willing to put everything at stake and goes all out. But the moment he hears more creepy sounds, he comes running back to his safe zone. In confusion, he even breaks the creepy sign that he had found previously. And that is rather a good thing. Well, actually it's a bad thing, but it can lead to goodness. So hear me out. This sign is called Hamza, also known as Fatima's hand, which is said to protect its user from evil spirits. That he broke it means nothing good. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But if he did at least know about this sign, he could derive from it that whatever is creeping up on him might indeed be beaten with magical spells and symbols. I mean, hey, it's worth a shot, right? Get some color, or blood, and start painting down any symbols you remember from Supernatural Charmed and... Anyways, a few seconds after breaking this sign, a girl barges into the room. A living human girl. But didn't he lock the door after entering the house? How did she get in? Or was she hiding in here all along? I mean, either way, this is not something normal. If she was hiding in here all the time, then WTF? And if she came from the outside, then how did she enter? That would be impossible, right? So this is already a red flag. The best thing to do here is stay polite, smile and wave while backing the fuck away. The girl introduces herself as Chrissy and says that she is a fan of his and that she had come all the way just to say hi. That's a pretty unique time window that she had picked. But, you know, maybe she's legit. Our dull guy actually buys her BS and doesn't think for a second that something might seem off about her. Chrissy asks Sean to let her join the stream, but he doesn't want to share the spotlight. His audience, though, wants her to join, so begrudgingly he allows her to stay. He sets up a GoPro on Chrissy's head, and together they explore the rest of the house. She eventually convinces him to go to the basement, and he agrees, which, considering her sudden unexplainable appearance, is probably a bad idea. Now, the basement holds a chest full of Mildred's stuff, and along with her other belongings, they also find Mildred's poem journal. Now, Sean ridicules the poems because that is what you do when you find the journal of a dead teen girl who had a rough life, right? The last guy who did that to Anne Frank got cancelled, my friends. This guy is not the brightest candle in the room. Anyway, he also finds a small locked box and decides to keep it. Next, they come out of the secret basement and summon the child spirits using the Ouija board. Nothing happens though, so Chrissy tells him of a chant that facilitates the bridge between the dead and the living. She casually explains to him that this Latin chant is just a peace offering to those souls who haven't gotten peace yet. Sean obviously doesn't consider that this peace offer is rather on the side of peace disturbance. I mean, what if you were called in the middle of the night by some crazy idiot standing in front of your house just to get some 5 seconds of fame on the internet? It's not a peace offering, right? You would be pissed. So, we should assume that the ghost will be pissed as well, right? The goofball recites it with her and unleashes the vengeance of the evil spirits of this house. The motion sensor camera receives some activity and Chrissy starts behaving mysteriously. Sean finally realizes that she isn't a fan. And then this happens. Chrissy is one of the ghosts of the house. Terrified of this attack, he stabs her with a sharp object and thinks that he killed her. He requests his audience to call the cops, but the moment he returns to her body, he realizes that she had vanished. Despite being terrified, he doesn't fail to check for comments, which is unintuitive, but your audience may be able to help you, right? And in fact, there is a boy who shares a video about the hand sign, the hand of Fatima, that he broke before. Instead of realizing that this sign might be his way out of here, he seems too terrified to think clearly. He checks on the footage of Chrissy's camera and doesn't realize that she is near him until... So as you can see, she attacks him, but he somehow pushes her down the stairs and runs to the door trying to escape. But then he remembers he locked himself in. Well... He searches for the vent to find his key, but finds another one instead. He figures that this might be the key to the box he found in the basement, so he opens it and finds a picture and a severed ghostly finger. The picture is of Chrissy, surprise surprise, and that is how he knows that she, in fact, is Mildred, or at least her ghost. Next, through one of his viewers, he comes to know that the chant he recited in the basement before surrenders his own soul to Mildred. Instead of clarifying his past actions, he should devise a plan. He eventually decides to jump out of the window from one of the rooms and gets badly injured. Now, the height of this first floor is somewhat about 14 feet. It's not high enough to kill you unless you land badly, but it's certainly high enough to pass you a pretty severe injury. Instead of jumping out like he did, he should have hanged himself from the window first to decrease the distance to the ground. If he is 6 feet tall, he would reduce the height by almost 40%. That's pretty significant, my friends. You should also shoulder roll up on impact to smoothen out the landing and reduce the hit your joints will experience. Being chased by ghosts is one thing, but being caught by them another. Breaking anything from your waist downwards will lead to a death. So, Sean musters up his courage and duct tapes his fresh wound. But Sean is out of luck because even after so much time has passed, no one arrives but this guy, a man who looks like a cop but isn't really a cop because he is part of the ghost gang of this house. He goes for a kick into these nuts and knocks the ghost cop out. Didn't know that ghosts were sensitive down there. That's kind of strange, but it is what it is, my friends. It's a fun movie. He somehow manages to lock himself into his car and receives a new video from a viewer. Suddenly, the ghost from the cop attacks him and shrieks him out of the car. Now, during this fight, he breaks his tablet though and now can't reach his viewers anymore. So he returns to his car, finds a paper in Mildred's journal, and has an epiphany. He understands that Mildred, in her own way, collects souls to establish her own personal following. Basically like he does with his stream, just a little otherworldly, if you know what I mean. He figures that with this how-to scripture, he may be able to reverse the spell and subject her to him instead. So through some of his other devices, he asks his viewers to translate the sentences and then goes back into the house to fight that chick. However, I've noticed that Mildred didn't show up since he got out of the house. This could indicate that she is bound to that place, which would mean going back is not a good idea. The thing he just fought was also pretty slow. I think his chances are much better if he just went for a run instead of fighting these creatures. But I guess to each his own, right? Now inside the house, he fills syringes with holy water and tapes his dagger to a broomstick, which is a pretty decent attempt to hold attackers at distance, not gonna lie. He then reaches the room where his laptop is and sees that his viewers have successfully translated the ritual. He continues with drawing a Hamza picture onto the ground and finally calls for the ghosts. Now before she appears, he is attacked by various other monsters trying to get the best of him. He eventually hides in the bathroom and ends up somewhat possessed by Mildred for whatever reason and has to fight off the possession, which he successfully does without any explanation. He then throws Mildred's poem book into the hallway to lure her out, and once she attacks him, he jams that meat cleaver into her head and knocks her unconscious. That's right, according to this movie, ghosts can lose consciousness, my friends. Never seen that, but hey, pretty cool. After another fight breaks out between the two, he duct tapes her to the floor and basically incapacitates her just like that. He then performs a ritual, but it doesn't work. Mildred meanwhile frees herself and attacks him a third time. Now suddenly he remembers that this ritual requires a flesh sacrifice, and as she crawls towards him, he removes the cleaver and chops his finger off. With this, Mildred is seemingly beaten and he freed from her attacks. However, his celebration is cut short when the remaining monsters surround him, leaving his fate unknown. Now in my opinion, those creatures weren't there to kill him. Instead, I think that he has replaced himself with Mildred and is now in return forever bound to this house, until another content creator comes along and basically commits the same mistakes as he did. And that was this movie, my friends. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Catch you guys next week, binge another one, and take care.